Let's take you here now. The temporary shelter where victims of the Marshalltown fire have been moved to has been described as inhumane. The victims were relocated from the Hoflands Recreational Centre this week to an industrial area in Denver, Johannesburg, with no access to water or electricity. The Johannesburg Fire Victim Support Group visited the area this morning. SABC News reporter Hasina Gori has more for us.
Victims of the Marshalltown fire have been relocated from the shelter that they were at to this open land that is owned by the city of Johannesburg. It is believed that it was the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department's impound land that has now been converted over the last week into a temporary shelter called Shalazila Denver Camp. It is made up of 100 corrugated zinc iron structures that will now house those victims. Behind us you can see there are these structures that have been put up over the last few days. Each single structure has a window as well as a door that locks from the outside. There is no electricity as well as any ablution facilities within this land that we understand. There is mobile toilets that have been brought in. The SABC has been barred from entering into the area and speaking to the occupants and victims at this stage. Earlier in the morning, the Human Rights Commission, as well as lawyers of some of the fire victims and other support groups, did conduct a site visit here. At that time as well, we were told that we were not allowed to venture through the area. We were only allowed through one line of the construction site, as they were still putting up some of the structures. We also weren't allowed to speak at that time as well to those victims that have been brought in. What we've seen through the day is more of the victims being brought from other of the shelters here. The numbers are growing. Also that their belongings have now been brought along. These victims are from the fire that took place in August this year, that fire that razed through the 5-story Usindiso building, gutting the entire hijacked building, leaving hundreds displaced. 77 people did lose their lives in that fire. Many of those that lived in that building, which was a hijacked building, they were paying at least 1,000 rand rental to these illegal, dodgy landlords inside the building. There was illegal structures made of flammable material, which caused, that fire to blaze in the manner that we saw it. And since then, they have been left displaced. Many had lost everything, including, their belongings and their papers, as well as some of them saying that they even lost their money. We've been following the story throughout as it's taken place. There has been a commission that of inquiry that was set up that has been since postponed indefinitely at this stage. Interviews are still ongoing with regards to, getting statements from those victims that were affected here. But this today, is one of just these steps that have been happening. There has been concerns around the Hoflands Recreational Centre. With last month, the SABC visited the shelter, and many of the occupants there told us that they'd been left with no food or with, no help been given by the centre, and the city of Johannesburg had completely left them to their own devices, and that they were told that they would be removed. And that's what we've seen happening here now, that these victims have been moved to this temporary shelter area here. But also, what's being told to them is that only South Africans are allowed here in this specific area, that those of foreign nationality will not be allowed to stay here, leaving some of the women whose partners may have been foreign nationals to now be staying in these areas by themselves. Many that lived in that building also say that they used to make money, and their income was generated from hawking on the streets or cleaning in that area or running businesses inside the building. They've since been unable to find any kind of work or employment at this stage. They've also seen that that some of the children have not been able to go to school and carry on the schooling year as they were unable to still afford the school fees, or that they were moved to the shelters that were far from where the building was. Currently, we are waiting on the Human Rights Commission, who's expected to revisit this area later on and take statements from the victims that have been brought in here. We're also told that Human Settlements is expected to come, as well as a local government. This is a story that we'll continue to keep you updated on and give you the latest.